My Uber driver recognized me from a missing persons poster, but I've never been reported missing. The driver's eyes kept flicking to the rearview mirror, and I pretended not to notice while my stomach twisted into knots. We were stopped at a red light on Belmore Avenue when he finally spoke, his voice careful and measured like he was approaching a wild animal. I don't want to freak you out, but I think I've seen your face before. My hands went cold against my phone screen, and I forced myself to look up and meet his gaze in the mirror. His expression wasn't threatening, just confused and concerned, which somehow made it worse. On a missing persons flyer, he continued, and the words felt like ice water dumping over my head. At the gas station on Route 9. Your picture was right there by the register. I told him he must be mistaken because I'd never been reported missing, and my voice came out steadier than I expected. He shook his head slowly and pulled out his phone at the next light, scrolling until he found what he was looking for. The image he showed me made my vision swim because it was definitely my face staring back from a grainy printout, the word missing in bold letters across the top. The photo looked like it was taken maybe 2 years ago based on my hair length, and underneath was information I'd never seen before. Name, Alexis Moreau. Age, 19. Last seen, March 15th, 2023. My actual name is Alexis Moreau, and I was 19, but I'd never been missing on March 15th or any other date. The driver's name was David, according to the app, and he kept glancing between me and his phone like he was trying to solve a puzzle. He asked if I was safe, if I needed help, and his genuine concern made this situation feel more real and terrifying. I told him I lived with my mom in an apartment on the north side and had no idea why someone would report me missing. David suggested we drive to the gas station so I could see the flyer myself, and something in his voice made me agree even though every instinct screamed this was a terrible idea. We changed the destination and headed toward Route 9, and I texted my mom asking if she'd ever filed a missing persons report on me. Mom responded within seconds saying she had no idea what I was talking about. I screenshot David's photo of the flyer and sent it to her, watching the typing indicator appear and disappear 3 times before she finally responded. Her message just said, "Call me now," in all caps, which wasn't like her at all. I told David I needed to make a call, and he nodded, turning down his radio while I dialed. Mom answered before the first ring finished, her voice tight with something I couldn't identify. "Where did you see that flyer?" she demanded, and I explained about the Uber driver and the gas station. The silence that followed lasted too long, and when she spoke again, her words came out carefully measured. "Stay in that Uber. Don't go to the gas station. Come home right now and don't talk to anyone." David heard enough of the conversation to pick up on the tension, and when I asked him to take me home instead, he didn't argue. The drive back felt like hours even though it was only 15 minutes, and I spent the whole time staring at that photo which I'd asked him to send me. The flyer listed a phone number to call with information, and my fingers hovered over it a dozen times before I finally worked up the courage to dial. A woman answered on the third ring, her voice professional but warm, identifying herself as Detective Lauren Vasquez with the state police. I told her my name was Alexis Moreau and I was calling about a missing persons flyer with my face on it, and the pause that followed felt like falling through empty space. Detective Vasquez asked where I was calling from and whether I was safe, her tone shifting into something more intense. I explained I was in an Uber heading home and had never been reported missing by anyone I knew. She started asking rapid-fire questions about my date of birth, my address, my mother's name, and with each answer, her responses got quieter and more clipped. Finally, she told me not to hang up, and I heard her speaking to someone else in the background, words like active case and welfare check filtering through. When she came back on the line, her voice had changed completely. "Alexis, I need you to listen very carefully. That flyer was filed by your father, Gregory Moreau, on March 15th, 2023. He reported you missing from your shared residence in Clifton Heights. My father died when I was 6 years old in a car accident on the interstate, and I said this out loud before my brain could fully process the implications." Detective Vasquez went completely silent, and I could hear papers rustling and keyboard clicks. She asked me to repeat what I just said, so I did, adding that my mom raised me alone after his death and we'd never lived in Clifton Heights. The detective's breathing changed, became faster and shallower, and when she spoke again, her words were measured and careful like she was defusing a bomb. "Alexis, I'm going to ask you something important, and I need you to be completely honest. Has your mother ever told you anything about your father that seemed inconsistent or strange?" The question felt like a trapdoor opening because yes, Mom's stories about Dad had always been vague and shifted depending on when she told them. David pulled up to my apartment building, and I thanked him, still on the phone with Detective Vasquez, who was insisting I wait for a patrol car before going inside. I told her Mom was expecting me, and I'd be fine, but she raised her voice for the first time, stating firmly that I needed to wait in the Uber until officers arrived. Something in her tone made David's eyes widen, and he locked the doors without me asking, to when things got a lot worse. Full story is linked below or on my channel.